Part 3. I Can Break the Dimensional Wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 21. Of course it was smooth sailing. The girls couldn't help but marvel at the scene outside the window. This was the first time for them to watch Huaguo from a place other than TV. To be honest, everything was more beautiful than they imagined. It even overturned the previous impression of Huaguo's past. Wow, there are so many cars, so many people, so many tall buildings. Is this the Huaguo? There are so many more tall buildings than ours, it's unimaginable in Japan, Hirasawa said with a look that had never seen the world. Yui, don't act like you've never seen the world, Ritsutanaka interrupted Yui Hirasawa, and also stared at the scenery outside the window without taking his eyes off it. It's my first time to come to China too. The rich second-generation Lady Kinbi also looked outside with curious eyes. I thought it would be that kind of feeling, which has a sense of history, but I saw it afterwards. I felt that this place is much more prosperous than the big cities in Japan. In fact, King Ian was released in 2009. In the animation, even the very rich young lady Kotobuki is still using a clamshell phone, and the smartphone can't be seen at all, so it is the same as where Syaruo is now. The world is about 10 years behind. Not to mention that they didn't understand Huaguo at first, so when they came here, they felt that their worldview was subverted. Don't worry, after the luggage is packed, I will take you to some interesting places, and at the same time I will take you to eat Huaguo cuisine, but it may not meet your taste. Syaruo smiled at these people, said the girl. The eyes of the girls lit up when they heard the food. If they had to say what attracted them the most, it must be the legendary Chinese food. Huaguo cuisine, wow, I can finally eat authentic Huaguo cuisine. Ritsu's eyes have already started to shine. There is a noodle shop opened by a Chinese person near our house. It's super delicious, but it's a pity that there are only noodles in it, and there are not as many delicious ones in the food show. I want to eat fried noodles. The eldest lady Kotobuki raised her hand. She looked very eager to try. It's a pity that I didn't eat it at the last summer festival, but this time I must eat it. I want to eat xiaolongbao. I saw this on the internet, but it is one of the must-eat foods when you come to China. Yui Hirasawa raised his hand, with a dazed look. Very cute. I want to eat Huaguo's mutton hot pot. It is said that it is completely different from Japanese hot pot, and I have always wanted to eat it before. Ritsutanaka raised his hand. I want to eat. Azusa Nakano thought about it for a while, but in fact she hadn't made up her mind yet, and she couldn't say anything immediately, so she said, I will eat whatever the seniors eat. Oh, yes, I thought of it, I actually those who want to eat authentic mapo tofu. Everyone put forward their opinions one after another. Aki Yamamio saw that everyone had said it, so she had no choice but to raise her hand. I want to eat steamed buns made with mutton. Everyone. Syaruo didn't expect that Aki Yamamio knew about Tianbei City quite well. Obviously it was impossible to know it in the fantasy world, but it seemed that she really knew a little bit, although it was a parallel world. But Tianbei City was very similar to the ancients in the previous life. The special delicacy is mutton steamed buns. Seeing everyone staring at her, Aki Yamamio also felt uncomfortable, and couldn't help shouting, didn't you look at the city you're going to before coming? Since you're here for tourism, you haven't learned about the local specialties and attractions online. For a while, the other girls were embarrassing when they were questioned by Aki Yamamio. When they came, they knew that they were coming to Huaguo. They really didn't know much about the various cities in Huaguo. The ones who really had an impression were the magic capital and the imperial capital. The big cities, and the rest of the cities and provinces don't even know their names. Even if it is a few well-known cities, they only know the name and some history. It's okay, the well-known tour guide is here. Syaruo smiled lightly. As long as I'm here, ladies will definitely have an unforgettable trip. Saying that, Syaruo found out that she had already arrived home. Okay, we're here, let's put our luggage down first. Xiaoruo helped the girls pull their luggage into the guest room. Today, Xiaomeng seemed to be taking Tom out to play again. Her parents were not at home, so there was no one there, and she was the only one entertaining the girls. The living room is so big, everyone sighed a little after they entered, and then began to put their luggage, and also noticed the musical instruments in the living room. Oh, if you want to practice, you can also practice musical instruments here, use whatever you want, these are all prepared for them, and Xiaoruo certainly won't let them fall into dust, although the level of fishing in the Kingian group is the highest in the world. One. Really? Won't it be very disturbing? Ritsu Tanaka gently touched the drum set and asked, this is different from the second-hand bad drum she bought, it feels like a very expensive brand. It's okay, you are guests, if my mother and sister hear you playing, they will be very happy, Xiaoruo said, and took out the prepared tea set and tea leaves. Do you like tea? I'll make tea for you. Hearing this sentence, the eyes of the young Miss Kinbaizu lit up, and she immediately walked over to take the tea set. Let me do it, these are what I am best at, I don't need to trouble you anymore, we are here already, excuse me. Then you just got off the plane, take a rest first, and I'll take you out for dinner at noon. After a while, Xiaoruo drank the tea that is unique to Kingian View. It was obviously the tea that she bought back, but after being brewed by the piano, it was different from the tea she brewed by herself. Maybe she really has a skill. It's delicious, Miss Jean Chui's craftsmanship is really good, Xiaoruo politely praised. No, it's just that the tea is good. Huaguo's tea really lives up to its reputation, Qin Shawazumi said modestly. After putting down the luggage, I also rested for about an hour. Seeing that everyone had almost rested, Xiaoruo was ready to take them out shopping. It's noon, ladies should be hungry now, I'll take you to eat delicious food, don't worry, I'm a local, I will definitely take you to eat the best delicious food. Hearing this, everyone in Kingian's eyes lit up, and quickly surrounded Xiaoruo. Then I will trouble you. Xiaoruo-jun is really a good person. How about eating hot pot first, I've been waiting for a long time. Hot pot. Hot pot. Ritsu Tanaka's voice was the loudest, and it seemed that a loud voice could make others accept his opinion. Senior Ritsu, pay attention to your image, Nakano Azusa tugged on Ritsu's clothes. Okay, let's eat hot pot first, I just know a hot pot restaurant with authentic taste, Xiaoruo said with a smile. Marvelous. The girls cheer together. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 22. The hot pot restaurant is not very far away, and soon, Xiaoruo took them to a large Sichuan-style hot pot restaurant, but when she got to the store, Xiaoruo found that there were not many people, only about 1/3 of the people were seated. The taste of this restaurant should be the most authentic among the hot pot restaurants I have ever eaten. I often come here to eat with my classmates. I believe you will like it, Xiaoruo said to them. The customers around saw that Xiaoruo was a man with 5 beautiful high school girls, and they all looked envious, and those who had girlfriends couldn't do without a little punch. It's such a big store. I always feel like I'm in Huaguo, surrounded by restaurants. This should be a feature, Yui Hirasawa said, and found that the waiter had already come up. Because they couldn't speak Chinese, they didn't speak, and Xiaoruo was responsible for everything. At this time, the waiter took out a tablet menu from his hand and handed it to Xiaoruo to let Xiaoruo order. That's amazing, Li Chan, do restaurants in Huaguo use tablets for ordering? Why do I suddenly feel that we are behind the times, as if we came from the countryside? Ping Zui's tone suddenly trembled. Don't talk, don't be like a country bumpkin who just entered the city, be more stable. However, Tanaka Ritsu's performance was not so good, he spoke in a low voice, as if he was afraid of saying the wrong thing. Come on, choose your dishes, I can translate for you, Syaruo handed the menu to the girls. I come. Hirasawa Yui and Tanakaritsu immediately snatched the menu and ordered randomly. Soon, Kotobuki and Akiyama Mio also joined in, ordering a lot of favorite dishes and meat, but Syaruo found that some they also started ordering strange dishes. Pork intestines, pig lungs, duck intestines, beef intestines, pork belly, these are things that even Syaruo would not eat by herself. At first glance, it turned out that the young Miss Kinbuki ordered it, and she was the only one who liked these novel foods, while the expressions of the other girls changed a little when they saw these things. Can you eat chili? Syaruo asked. For girls, chili should not be considered a friendly thing. Sure enough, after hearing Syaruo's question, they all looked at each other and disagreed. Hirasawa Yui, when you come to eat Sichuan-style hot pot, you must eat chili. Ritsu Tanaka, Japanese people don't need spicy food. Seeing that they were about to quarrel, Syaruo decisively chose the Mandarin duck pot, and everyone was happy. When the hot pot opened, everyone's saliva was about to flow down, but Yui Hirasawa was a little scared when he looked at the bright red peppers and peppercorns in the bottom of the spicy pot. When the dishes were finished and they were ready to eat soon, everyone began to taste Chinese delicacies. Hot. 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 Akiyama Mio was almost scalded while eating, but after eating, she found. It's delicious. Really tasty. Is this the legendary Chinese hot pot? I really want to take all the ingredients back. The spicy pot is really delicious, and my whole body is going to burn up. I feel like I can keep eating like this. Syaruo didn't think much of it when she ate it, but it was interesting to see how these girls made a fuss when they ate hot pot. Speaking of which, the more you eat hot pot, the more addictive it becomes, and eating hot pot is unexpectedly time-consuming. I ate like this for an hour. At this time, they touched their chubby bellies and leaned against the chair. Okay, let's go, Syaruo asked, looking at the girls who had no motivation. Huh. I can rest for a while, Yui Hirasawa said with a full hiccup. Senior Wei, let's go for a walk, Nakano Azusa abruptly pulled Wei up from the chair. Seeing that everyone had finished eating, Syaruo was going to pay the bill. After all, it was talking about board and lodging at the time, and the money was not a lot of money, so Syaruo got up and went to pay the bill. Let us come, thank you very much for bringing us here, let us treat this meal. Akiyama Mio stood up and stopped Syaruo's movements. For her, it was really embarrassing for her to eat other people's things for free, at least she had to pay the bill by herself. Syaruo glanced at her, and smiled slightly. No need, just sit down, isn't it normal to invite girls to dinner? You are guests, so I will naturally take good care of you. After all, Akiyama Mio is not that kind of particularly strong girl, she really can't compete with Syaruo, so she can only obey, but she is still very embarrassed. It was the first time for her to be warmly received by a boy like this, which made her blush a little. It's really troublesome for you. It's okay, Syaruo took out her mobile phone to pay. At this time, everyone in Kingian also discovered that Syaruo paid directly with her mobile phone, and this discovery immediately surprised everyone. The legendary mobile payment. My God, has Huaguo been ahead of us for so long? We are still stuck in a primitive society that uses cash, Yui Pings immediately expressed his surprise. Wei, don't talk, you have once again exposed us as if we came from the countryside, Ritsu Tanaka stopped Wei again. As for Mio Akiyama and the others, they were also surprised and didn't know what to say. After all, they were still using flip phones. Looking at the sky from a well. Japan has long been left behind, Mio Akiyama could only sum up in a low voice at the end. Anyone who sees their own country lagging behind will feel depressed. I can't say that Japan is too backward. I can only say that Huaguo is more powerful. I often travel to Europe, But I have never seen these things. The eldest lady Kotobuki still has the right to speak. She will go to Finland every summer to escape the heat. Akiyama Mio glanced at Syaruo's back. However, this trip is very meaningful. Just after arriving, I saw the prosperity and development of Hwagyo. Compared with the previous time when I was in Japan, we have gained a lot, not to mention meeting someone as enthusiastic as Mr. Syaruo. After dinner, Syaruo naturally wanted to take the girls shopping and visit Tianbei City. Although Tianbei City in this world is not as good as Tokyo or those well-known metropolises in the previous life, fortunately, its cultural background is quite profound, so this can be regarded as the only card. Because the main purpose was to make them have fun, Syaruo didn't join in too much. Rather than being a tour guide, she was actually just a translator, allowing them to play freely during the tour. Traveling with King Yinzong is still very interesting. These girls are cute, and they always make some unexpected moves. They don't have the reserve of ordinary girls at all, even if they go abroad. Tianbei City is a bit like the ancient capital of the previous life, and the city wall here is also the largest and best preserved ancient city wall in Hwagyo. Syaruo brought them here at the first stop. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 23. The ancient city wall of Tianbei City is very high. Looking from below the city wall, there is a feeling that human beings are very small. The circumference is more than 13 kilometers, and it surrounds a large city wall of a city. Wow, the city wall is so high, it is worthy of Hwagyo. With such a powerful city wall, it really feels like a long history. Take pictures. That's right, it's like watching a movie. These are real, so spectacular. I thought I could only see such a big city wall in movies. When was this city wall built? Tang Dynasty. It really is so powerful. Ritsu Tianjing said with emotion. When Syaruo was about to say something, she found that someone had already said it in advance. I seem to have heard that the existing city wall of the ancient capital is a Ming Dynasty building with a total length of 13.7 kilometers. It was built on the basis of the imperial cities of the Sui and Tang dynasties under the guidance of the policy of becoming king slowly and slowly, and it was the prefecture of Chang'an at that time. The eldest lady, Qin Shui, introduced like an encyclopedia. She is knowledgeable and talented, and she even knows the historical and cultural buildings of Hwagyo. Hearing her words, everyone's eyes focused on her. Sure enough, it's Zuzu-chan. It's amazing. We all know the history of Hwagyo architecture. Yui Hirasawa and Ritsu Tanaka immediately showed admiring eyes. No, I just saw it in a book before, and then I wrote it down, and I didn't expect to have the opportunity to see it with my own eyes, Chin Chiwazumi said modestly. Miss Chin Chui is really knowledgeable and talented, Syaruo also praised sincerely. Of course, it's a sincere compliment, but what did Kotobuki say? Huh? This is a parallel world, so of course it doesn't match what she said, but there is no way for the eldest lady to mistakenly think that this is the city wall of the ancient capital of the previous life. After all, it is too similar. No, it's just that I read more books, Kotobuki responded politely. After seeing the city wall, everyone immediately picked up their mobile phones and took random pictures. Can I touch it? Yui Hirasawa rushed directly to the city wall, groping the ancient city wall. Wait for me. The people behind also rushed over, and these cute girls all put their hands on the city wall, looking devout. What's the use of touching the city wall? Nakano Azusa asked, because passers-by had already started to look at them. Don't you feel it? The heaviness of history hits your face, Ritsu Tanaka said strange things in a serious voice, and took a deep breath at the same time. There's a sense of history in the air. It doesn't taste good at all, Nakano Azusa is used to such indecency of Tainakuritsu. An ancient thing like this usually brings good luck. Azumi, close your eyes and make a wish. Yui Hirasawa began to express her own unique understanding. I've never heard of such a thing as being able to make a wish, right, Mio-senpai? Nakano Azusa looked back, and found that Akiyama Mio had one hand on the city wall and closed his eyes at the same time, looking very devout. Senior Mio? It's really useful, I feel like I've traveled back to ancient times, Mio said in surprise as she opened her eyes. Well. Right, let's make a wish together. Good. Syaruo didn't know what kind of expression to put on at this time, so she watched the 5 cute girls neatly sticking their hands to the city wall, making a wish devoutly. People passed by from time to time, because the girls were very beautiful, they attracted some people's attention. After seeing their behavior, they pointed at the girls. Although they didn't understand what they said, Syaruo understood. Touch the city wall, bully. A passerby gave a thumbs up when passing by. It looks like a foreigner at first glance, there is someone in this rotten city wall who is easy to touch. Upon hearing this, Syaruo knew that he was a local. Okay, let's go visit the city wall now, I've already bought the tickets. Syaruo couldn't bear their continued humiliation, and after buying the tickets, he took them up the city wall to play. At this time, another exclamation was unavoidable. After that, Syaruo took them to some ancient buildings and other scenic spots. At the same time, they took a lot of photos and bought a lot of souvenirs. For Syaruo, those souvenirs are all deceitful, but the girls like them, and Syaruo didn't stop them. After all, they still want to bring some souvenirs back to their families. These tricky gadgets are very good. Of course, a lot of interesting things happened during the shopping process. Except for those unscrupulous businessmen, the Chinese people are very hospitable. After seeing that these girls are all Japanese, the shopkeepers are very enthusiastic, even so enthusiastic that the girls are a little nervous. I'm sorry. A fellow from Guangzhou who sold cotton candy specially made beautiful cotton candy for the girls because they were cute, and they were not allowed to leave. This kind of overly enthusiastic way even scared these children a little. This kind of different feeling is actually difficult to experience in Japan, which is also the charm of foreign culture. However, these girls also like to visit some strange places, that is, the remote alleys, all kinds of shops that are not available in Japan, and the girls will exclaim when they go to a place they have never seen before. Syaruo had no choice but to accompany her, but for some reason, these girls got into the tunnel of the subway as they walked. It seems that they are also very interested in the subway in Huaguo, or they want to compare which subway is better. Does the subway in Huaguo still have security checks? It feels so strict. Nakano Azusa seemed a little incredulous looking at the line queuing up for security checks. That's right, I've never heard of such a thing, isn't it very safe? I heard that there will be accidents every once in a while on the subway, but you don't have to worry about it when you go to the security check. Mio Akiyama was also surprised. It's just a little troublesome. When they saw the subway, although they were still very surprised, but after seeing a lot, they didn't have the feeling of country people entering the city at first. The subway here is much better than Japan's. Many places in Japan's subway don't have protective doors at all. It really deserves to be Huaguo. I feel that there will be a lot of talk when I go back. Hirasawa Yui is still very excited. This time what she gained from coming to China simply exceeded the limit she could imagine. So cool. It's just that it was built later than Japan, so there's nothing to be proud of, said Syaruo very modestly, and there was no need to show off deliberately. After all, the two places are not in the same world at all. At this moment, Syaruo's cell phone rang. After picking up the cell phone, she realized that it was her sister who called, probably asking herself when to go back. Before she knew it, it was getting dark. When are you coming back for dinner? I'm about to start cooking, still the cold voice of my sister. I'm still out with my friends. I think I'll have dinner with them in a while. Would you like to come out and eat together? I'll treat you. To be honest, Xiaoruo just asked casually, never thought that Xiaomeng would agree. Okay, where is the location? I'll be right there. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Zhazi Jumiao. Chapter 24. The sky is gradually getting dark, and the ancient city can only show its true charm at night. It was already night, but the city was still brightly lit. It seemed that the city had returned to the most prosperous Chang'an at that time. What a beauty! It's like a dream city. This city is still so gorgeous. Maybe you may not know it very well if you live here often, but in the eyes of outsiders, it still has the attraction of immersing you in it. To be honest, Xiaoruo is still a bit hard today, and it is okay to let me take them to visit some places of interest, but Xiaoruo really doesn't know many places to play. I'm sorry, but for an otaku who plays games and watches anime all day, even a local, his understanding of the city he lives in is actually similar to that of a foreigner, just a little better than a foreigner. Today, Xiaoruo has almost played as much as he can know. After talking on the phone with Xiaomeng, Xiaoruo turned and looked at everyone. Sorry, my sister called me just now. It seems that she hasn't had dinner yet. I guess she will come over to have dinner with us in a while. I shouldn't disturb you. Xiaoruo told the Kingian people about the situation. Of course, it was just to explain in advance, otherwise Xiaomeng would suddenly come, and it would be too impolite for him not to inform the guests in advance. Xiaoruo-jun's sister is coming, we welcome you very much, you are too polite, thank you Xiaoruo-jun very much today, Akiyama Mio bowed to Xiaoruo-jun. That's right, we had so much fun today because of you, Ritsutanaka said very lively. It's fine if you don't mind it, Xiaoruo smiled slightly, but seemed to think of something suddenly. Oh, by the way, my sister has a weird personality, so don't worry about it for a while. What's a weird temper? Yui Hirasawa, who has the most perfect sister in the world, asked curiously. It's easy to do some incomprehensible things. It may be because of her young age, but it doesn't matter, she is still a good person. Xiaoruo didn't realize the fact that she was blackmailing Xiaomeng. Unintelligible. Suddenly, the image of a maverick girl with a middle-class behavior appeared in the minds of the Kingian Five. Sure enough, there are still young secondary diseases all over the world. It's okay, we won't care about it, Qin Chui said first. For a gentle person like Xiaoruo-jun, your sister is definitely a very kind person. You're right. After that, Xiaoruo and others waited for Xiaomeng's arrival at the agreed place. During this period, Xiaoruo kept chatting with the Kingian girls, talking about the culture and development of Huaguo. They have been sticking to Xiaoruo asking questions. At this moment, Xiaoruo seemed to hear Xiaomeng's voice. Brother, you are here. Xiaomeng deliberately wore her most beautiful little skirt to go out today, tidied it up, even put on light makeup, and took a long time in front of the mirror, just to show off her charm in front of her brother's friends. My brother is blind, so it's impossible for his friend to be blind too. Besides, wouldn't it be more contrasting to be with those cheating girls? Xiaomeng has calculated everything. This time, there is absolutely no possibility of problems. She clenched her fists tightly, her eyes full of determination. The turnaround is today. Today, I must regain my face. Xiaomeng believes that as long as she passes by, her aura will definitely overwhelm everyone. After seeing her brother, Xiaomeng put on the cutest smile she could make, and walked over slowly. No one can resist her cuteness. Brother, really, you should have let me come here earlier, are these guys your friends? Looking at the 5 top-quality beautiful girls with distinctive characteristics beside her brother, Xiaomeng's smile froze on her face. Wait a moment. Illusion. That may be it. Close your eyes. Open your eyes. For it. Why? Is something wrong with my eyes and my brain? Has the level of a dead house girl reached this level? The appearance of Kingian 5 members is quite good, maybe it is mediocre in Kingian's worldview, but after all, there is no ugly girl in the second dimension, and after the third dimension, they are indeed goddesses. Especially Mio Akiyama, she is the one who can turn girls around in the girls' school. She has her own fan club in the girls' school. She is a real goddess. She is so cute and handsome that Xiaomeng, who thinks she is a beautiful girl, feels herself dirty. Xiaomeng is indeed very cute, but cuteness cannot be beaten by 5. When 5 beautiful girls who are not weaker than her are together, Xiaomeng admits that she was crushed. This battle was lost by himself. But where did my brother find such beauties? There are still 5. Xiaomeng kept her smile stiffly, and stretched out her hand. Hello, I'm Xiaoruo's younger sister, just call me Xiaomeng. Ni hao. The rest of the people also said ni hao to Xiaomeng. They are from Japan, they came to China to play, they can't speak Chinese. This is Akiyama Mio, this is, Xiaoruo introduced the two sides respectively. For it. Or an exotic beauty. Where did my brother get his luck? Xiaomeng felt that the fake smile on her face was becoming more and more difficult to maintain. The Kingian girl was very enthusiastic, saying something like kawaii to Xiaomeng, but Xiaomeng couldn't understand it either, she really couldn't speak Japanese. How handsome! Seeing the tall, handsome, and quiet Akiyama Mio, even Xiaomeng immediately had the thought of this is the real goddess in her mind. As a girl, when she saw Akiyama Mio, her heart was a little moved, let alone in the eyes of boys, such a girl was rarely encountered even on the TV screen, just like a star. For a moment, Xiaomeng was actually a little nervous. It was a kind of uncomfortable nervousness when facing someone who was better than herself. This feeling was something she had never experienced before. Standing there stiff, not knowing what to do, this is a different person from the usually lively Xiaomeng. At this moment, a big hand comforted Xiaomeng's head. Xiaoruo noticed her abnormality, and thought she was not used to meeting strangers, plus she couldn't understand Japanese, and didn't understand what the other party said, so she was a little nervous. Xiaoruo comforted her little head. Don't be nervous, these are my friends, nice people, they are saying you are cute now, but yes, you are so cute, everyone seems to like you. Xiaomeng raised her head and looked at her brother. It was the first time she heard her brother say that she was cute. She had never said that at home, so this idiot brother would only take care of herself in front of outsiders. Emotions. After being comforted, it was miraculous that Xiaomeng's nervousness slowly receded. This made her a little upset. What, I'm still a child in need of comfort. After Xiaomeng was not nervous, the communication between the two parties was very pleasant. Xiaomeng is also really a genius, her spoken English is not bad, and Akiyama Mio and Kotobuki's English is quite good, the two sides cooperate with gestures, and they can communicate in a simple way, and there is no situation where they cannot communicate. During the period, Xiaomeng secretly poked Xiaoruo's waist and whispered. Brother, it turns out that what you said is true. What really? Did you think I was joking with you before? I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Zhiwai. Chapter 25. Awesome, when did you have a relationship with a Japanese girl, and your Japanese is still so good? Xiaomeng suddenly realized that she underestimated her elder brother. Such proficiency in Japanese is absolutely impossible to be practiced temporarily. To learn a language, it takes years at the earliest. It's not a big deal. Xiaoruo didn't want to talk about Japanese. After all, I hadn't learned it before, and I learned it through the system. Let's just forget about it. Since we are international friends, We really should treat them well. Xiaomeng directly pulled the girls over and took them to the food street where Xiaomeng used to go often. Girls get acquainted very quickly, even if the language is not very good. As soon as they entered the food street, everyone in Qingyan opened their eyes. The food street in Huaguo really has everything, all kinds of drooling skewers and all kinds of snacks, the fragrance wafting from afar. Foodies coming to the food street is like coming to heaven. Not only that. Not to mention those mouth-watering foods, but the visual impact of snacks such as grilled scorpions and grilled bugs can be unforgettable for a lifetime. Roasted scorpions are so scary, can they really be eaten? Come and see, Mio. Ritsutanaka turned around, only to find that Mio had already been frightened and ran away. Why are you scared like this? Wait a minute, it smells so fragrant. What exactly is this smell? Yue Pings followed the scent and found the lamb kebabs being grilled. Is it kebabs? Lamb kebabs? Yue Hirasawa pointed at the kebabs, and only 3 words appeared in his eyes: I want to eat. It smells so good. Nakano Azusa took out a tissue and wiped the drool from the corner of his mouth. Hey, are you going to eat mutton skewers? Xiaomeng looked at their actions, a little funny. If you want to eat, eat here. I wanted to take you to eat something else, but the mutton skewers are still delicious. Seeing that everyone had no objections, Xiaoruo immediately found a seat. Then let's eat here. Xiaoruo directly ordered some lamb kebabs and a roast leg of lamb. By the way, she took out the menu and asked the girls to order some other things. Soon, according to the pictures on the menu, they ordered some more that they thought were good food. For example, roasted eggplant, roasted enoki mushrooms, etc. Although they can't understand Chinese, they can still understand the pictures. It's just that Xiaoruo found out that the eldest lady ordered a bunch of sheep's eggs, and she looked very curious. Sheep eggs. Girls probably don't like to eat this kind of thing, it must be wrong. Having a barbecue with beautiful girls is definitely a very comfortable thing, especially when surrounded by a circle of old men, bald men, beer drinkers, braggarts, and punchers. Then there is a table in the middle where a group of beautiful girls with different colors are eating barbecue. This scene is indescribably weird. It can be said that this is the most eye-catching place in the store, which makes the noise around the barbecue stall much quieter. But what makes people angry is that one of the boys is among a bunch of girls. And Xiaoruo enjoys the envious and jealous eyes of the men around her in this way. I asked the girls around me what they wanted to drink, and they all chose juice, but there was no juice at the barbecue stand. They were all kinds of drinks and beer. It was Xiaomeng who chose sour plum soup for them. Drink it, I like sour plum soup the most, this is super delicious. Xiaomeng pointed to sour plum soup and said. Hey, I haven't seen it before. Hirasawa Yui's eyes lit up, and he took a sip of the sour plum soup lightly, his eyes brightened. It's delicious. Soon, the grilled mutton was served, and the aroma of the mutton skewers made everyone's mouth water. Not only the mutton skewers, Xiaoruo also ordered a plate of roasted lamb legs. A whole piece of roasted leg of lamb is a bit like the one eaten by the protagonist of The Big Stomach King in Japanese anime. It is sprinkled with various seasonings and has a tangy aroma. Amazing. It's the first time I saw a leg of lamb roasted in this way. Just looking at it, my mouth is watering. Akiyama Mio couldn't help swallowing. Compared with the usual light meals in Japan, coming here to eat barbecue is really delicious. Simple and rude. When they took the first bite, the girls' mouths were filled with the rich aroma of meat and barbecue spices, as if they were being swept away by the sea. Wave after wave of wonderful delicacy washed over their taste buds. Delicious. I have no regrets in this life. Yue Hirasawa exaggeratedly clutched his chest, with a gesture of extreme enjoyment. I can finally eat something that I could only see on some gourmet shows before, and I'm super happy. Ritsutanaka, who didn't care about his girlish image, ate 4 or 5 skewers of mutton. Mutton skewers are the best in the world. In China, it's easy to get fat. After eating for a while, the eldest lady, Qin Chuizu, tilted her head and looked at a bunch of sheep eggs for a long time. What is this, kawaii, but which part of the sheep is this? For it. This is a sheep's egg, which is the XX of a sheep. Xiaoruo still has a conscience, so she explained a little bit, otherwise she would be eaten up by Qin Fuki for no apparent reason, and she might really leave some psychological shadow on such a girl. If you have no lungs, you will not be clear. Sure enough, after hearing the explanation, Qin Chawizu's face turned red, and she quickly put down the egg. Sikuyi. The rest of the girls looked at the sheep's egg with a look of confusion. As expected of Huaguo, it's amazing. Nakano Zi looked at the bunch of lamb eggs with lingering fear, and for some reason, he always felt that the lamb in his hand was not so tasty. Isn't it scary? Mio Akiyama didn't even dare to look at the egg. I think it's very cute. I've never seen it before. I didn't expect it to be edible. What kind of taste is it? Yui Hirasawa looked at the egg and was stunned. Miss Yui Hirasawa, please put away your bold thoughts, at least you are still a girl. Ritsu Tanaka immediately gave that Tian Rande a knife. Of course, this incident passed quickly. In order to avoid waste, Xiaoruo ate the sheep's eggs in the end, but it is definitely not a good thing to be surrounded by a few beautiful girls to eat sheep's eggs. But honestly, it tastes really good. It was almost enough to eat, so Xiaoruo took the girls and left, but the rest of the journey was full of food, and she clearly said that she was full, but she still couldn't eat enough. There are too many snacks on the street, and they all complain that they can't even eat half of it in a 7-day trip. Sugar paintings, steamed cakes, steamed buns, rujiamo, etc. look delicious, everything they want to eat. Eating all the way, taking pictures all the way, watching the girls having fun, Xiaoruo is also in a good mood, and she doesn't know how much reward she can get. After all, according to the system, the more satisfied the ladies are, the richer their rewards will be. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 26. By the way, Xiaoruo thought of the characteristics of the system. He guessed that the experience of Kingian people in Huaguo would also be made into an animation. The more prestige you have, the faster you can upgrade yourself. It seems to be a little more serious. Afterwards, it was Xiaomeng who took them to some interesting local shops, bought some souvenirs, and visited the famous local smashing bowl wine. Just drink from a bowl and fall to the ground after drinking, a bit like Xiaofeng and Duan Yu drinking. The girls were not allowed to drink, so Xiaoruo bought some, finished the wine by herself, and then gave the bowls to the girls to wrestle and play. After dropping the bowl, they all thought it was very interesting and kept taking pictures to commemorate it. It was getting late, and Xiaoruo was going to take them back, but on the way back, something interesting happened again. There was a park around, and the sounds from the park attracted the girls' attention. Where is the music coming from? Is someone singing? Akiyama Mio became interested in the direction the music was coming from. Do you sing at night? Does Huaguo still have this custom? Is there still someone performing? Yui Hirasawa also looked at the place, which seemed to be a park. What did they say? Xiaomeng glanced at her elder brother. She couldn't understand when the other party spoke Japanese. They said there were people singing around. Xiaoruo actually didn't hear anything. Maybe the music players are sensitive to music. Is there? Xiaomeng frowned, listened carefully, and indeed heard some faint sounds of music, but the sound was. Could it be that? The corner of Xiaomeng's mouth twitched. No way. Let's go take a look and see who is singing, Ping Zui asked everyone, and the others decided to go and have a look. Xiaoruo did not refuse. It's just that Xiaomeng patted her head, as if she had a bad premonition. Sure enough, after getting closer, the melodious music gradually became clearer. You are the most beautiful cloud in my heart, let me keep you with my heart. When King Ian arrived at the scene, what they saw was a shocking scene. It was obviously night, but the vast park square was illuminated by the light of the lanterns, which seemed to give the square an orange background. In this large square with Chinese beauty, hundreds of ants lined up neatly and danced, and their dynamic dances deeply attracted the attention of all onlookers. Dozens of ants are dancing in the square, which is really shocking, let alone these girls who have never seen the world. At this moment, Xiaomeng felt ashamed. This is, what? What a terrifying aura. Azusa Nakano asked with some fear, always feeling that those dancing people are so scary. Square dance should be regarded as a special kind of dance. Some elderly people like to dance here. It can also be regarded as a way of fitness. It has not been around for a long time. For Huaguo with a long history, it is also a kind of dance. It's a new culture. Xiaoruo thinks that square dancing is not a bad thing. Many negative news about square dancing are only caused by impolite ants. There is nothing wrong with square dancing itself. Oh. So this is fitness is really a good thing, and combining it with dancing is a great idea. The rhythm of the music is very strong. The girls exclaimed in one way or another, and I don't know if they really understood. Want to go up and try? Xiaoruo asked. Just for a moment, Xiaoruo suddenly wanted to see what it would be like for King Ian and others to dance to the square. Or maybe it's his bad taste, he wants to see King Ian people dancing square dances, and then make it into animation, and when people watch it, they are even complained about by barrage. What? Akiyama Mio asked puzzledly. Go up and try dancing. This is a very unique experience. People who have never been to Huaguo will never be able to experience it. It is very fun, Xiaoruo continued, seeming to be bewitched, but also sincere. I think so. Indeed, this experience is not available to everyone. How can it be? Mio Akiyama was about to refuse, but Yui Hirasawa and Ritsu Tanaka, who were the most curious, stood beside Xiaoruo curiously. Really? It's very interesting. Can we really jump up? Will we not be scolded? Ritsu Tanaka asked with interest. Yes, anyone can jump up, no one will chase you away, Xiaoruo patiently explained, and Xiaoruo found that some of them were already moved. Oh, really? I thought they were all well-chosen dancers, but what if we don't know how to dance? We haven't learned this square dance. Yui Pings asked hesitantly. In fact, she also thought this was a very interesting Huaguo culture. Everyone could dance in the square together, which felt very powerful. It's okay, the square dance is actually just a few moves, you can just learn from the people in front of you, and no one will accuse you of dancing poorly. Xiaoruo's tone became more and more gentle, but his eyes narrowed slightly. Xiaomeng on the side doesn't understand Japanese. Although she couldn't understand what her brother was saying, she felt an inexplicable sense of danger. With her intuition, she felt what her brother should be doing bad things, but she can't understand, this is the most desperate. Really? Sure enough, after getting Xiaoruo's affirmation, for a person like Yui Hirasawa who is extremely curious, who dares to play the guitar for a day in a kimono yukata, wear cat ears at will, and wear a maid outfit, such a thing as square dancing also definitely not to be missed. Indeed, the dance they dance is very simple, I feel like I can do it myself. No way, do you really want to dance? It's too shameful. Yes, I won't go either. Akiyama Mio and Nakano Azusa may be the most normal and shameless two members of the Kingian Five, and of course they refused. Hey! It's obviously very interesting. This is the latest culture in Huaguo. We don't have it there. Yui Pingsawa wanted to go, look, everyone danced very happily. Such a simple movement, I feel like I will too. Yeah, let's dance for a while, and I'll be back after a while. I just ate so much, I can digest it a bit. The piano blowing at the side unconsciously began to shake his hands according to the sound of the music. For it. In the end, Akiyama Mio and Nakano Azusa were still defeated. Although she was still ashamed, everyone decided to play for a while, and even left their mobile phones to Sioruo to take pictures of them. The corner of Xiaomeng's mouth twitched as she watched these idiot Japanese girls being fooled into dancing in the square by her elder brother. Seeing the girls' joy, Xiaomeng didn't know how to stop them. Sure enough, the friends of the idiot brother are also idiots. Although I don't know what my brother said, but Xiaomeng has already labeled her brother as a black belly. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 27. Xiaomeng's bad premonition came true. Those stupid girls were really fooled into dancing in the square. Could it be that I guessed wrong at the beginning? It wasn't that my brother was cheated by the girls online, but that these girls were too stupid to be tricked by my brother to come to Huaguo. If that's the case, my brother is really a scumbag. Xiaomeng speculated maliciously. Everyone in Qingyan was in the last row of the square dance, watching a group of ants dancing, and dancing together. The square dance is really the simplest dance, and the girls imitated it very quickly. The ants on the side saw a few beautiful girls dancing with them, and they gave their thumbs up and praised them. Although everyone in Qingyan couldn't understand, they also knew that they were being praised, which made them a little embarrassed. Obviously the actions of themselves and others were not very standard. Sioruo also started to record it with her mobile phone. This is super precious material, and one day it will become the treasure of Mengjian. Black history get. That's how I got tricked. Xiaomeng also mourned for those girls at the side. She trembled when she thought about the most terrifying black history that her brother had mastered. In fact, Sioruo really didn't intend to keep this as a black history collection. It's not a big deal to dance the square dance with the ants, it's just more interesting, but, if you let yourself dance, it's impossible for you to go. Probably dance the most dazzling national style, and the girls came down. Anyone who has tried it will know that it is difficult to express in words the joyful feeling of giving up the morals and dancing a square dance with the ants. This is a square dance. It's so interesting. After dancing for a while, my body warms up. It's simple and very interesting, and the music is also very good. I feel that after a period of rest, my creative inspiration will continue to emerge. Someone praised me just now, did you see that? I must blow it when I return to China. We have danced with hundreds of people from Huaguo, and it is still the most popular square dance. The girls were chattering loudly, and turning their heads to wave hello to the ants from time to time. For them, there was actually nothing to be ashamed of. And this experience is truly unprecedented. Okay, you're all tired, let's go back now. Sioruo called 2 taxis and took them back, seeing the happy faces of the girls. By this time, it was almost 10 o'clock in the evening. It's o'clock. After returning home, Sioruo's mother also met these girls, and Sioruo's mother was also very satisfied that these beautiful girls were her son's friends. In an instant, she pulled the most beautiful Akiyama Mio and wanted to talk, and asked about her family situation, but unfortunately, she couldn't speak the language, so she could only stare blankly. Dad is not at home, maybe there is a problem with the animation schedule. It is said that his new animation is full of confidence. Sioruo didn't pay attention, I don't know what happened. Seeing that the girls were all tired, Sioruo didn't bother them, and planned to let them have a rest. After all, they played for too long today. The room was prepared by Sioruo in advance, and the girls could go to sleep directly as long as they went in. After a day of wandering, the girls were sleepy, but still very excited. From time to time, the girls' laughter could be heard from the room, just like a school trip. Because of the enthusiasm of Sioruo's family, the girls were very open and not too restrained. But in the end, Akiyama Mio found Sioruo and thanked Sioruo, probably because of Sioruo's trip today. Thank you so much, Sioruo-jun, I have really troubled you today. It's nothing, I was in charge of your itinerary, of course I will try my best to do my best, no thanks. Sioruo didn't feel what she did today. After thinking for a long time, she felt that she should be thanked the most, that is to pay the bill. Playing with girls is not very tiring. Sioruo-jun is too modest. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be able to have such a good time. When we went on a trip before, we never felt like this. It's like being a friend. It's great that Sioruo-jun is your tour guide. Akiyama Mio bowed lightly, speaking in a very sincere tone, but Sioruo knew that she was not even a half-baked tour guide. The place I wanted to go the most was London, but Sioruo-jun gave me other options. Next time I have a chance, I will come to China again. Mio Akiyama looked at Sia with sincere eyes. Like. Okay, welcome anytime, remember to contact me when you come next time. Then it's settled. At this moment, the two made an agreement. Sioruo narrowed her eyes slightly, and made an agreement with the two-dimensional characters, and then they can still come over? Apart from needing to lead them by themselves, is there any other way? If it is agreed that they can come here if they want, that would be too scary. I hope this is not the case, the dimensional wall cannot be broken so easily. The first day of King Ian's arrival went smoothly like this. Everything seemed calm, and it was still the same the next day. Sioruo continued to take them around to play. The same goes for the third day. Eating, drinking and having fun every day, girls are afraid of getting fat. On the fourth day, Sioruo took them to climb the mountain. This was chosen by the girls from the options given by Sioruo. Speaking of which, there should be good mountains to climb in Japan. I don't know why these girls come to Hwagyo and still enjoy climbing mountains so much. However, there is a very spiritual temple on the Huashan mountain they chose this time. As long as you go up and pray and write your wish, it will definitely come true. I guess this is what the girls are doing. Girls still like to believe in this kind of marriage and pray for blessings. Thing. No way, Sioruo had to work harder. In order to let them have fun, she took the initiative to help the 5 girls with things, but what Sioruo did not expect was that Akiyama Mio seemed to be very interested in climbing mountains, and she rushed faster. Looking at the fast girls rushing ahead, Sioruo was carrying something on her back and couldn't keep up at all, so she could only helplessly shout from behind, "Slow down, be careful of falling." Understood, hurry up, Sioruo-jun, don't get lost, Akiyama Mio, who was at the front, responded. At this moment, I don't know what happened, there was a scream in front, and the voice was still familiar. Ah! Mio-chan. Sioruo was startled by a sudden scream. She threw everything in her hand to the ground and rushed up. What's wrong? Is anyone injured? Sioruo didn't realize until the front that Akiyama Mio sat on the ground in pain, as if her foot was injured, and the other 4 girls surrounded her. Sioruo-jun, Mio-chan's foot seems to be sprained. It's alright, Sioruo stretched out her hand and took off Akiyama Mio's shoes for a look. The ankle that was originally smooth as jade was already red and swollen, but it was not too serious. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 28. I'm fine, and it won't affect everyone's continued climbing. Akiyama Mio forced a smile, wanting to make everyone relax. She is such a person who cares more about others. How can you climb a mountain like this? Seeing Akiyama Mio's painful appearance, Sioruo first retorted, and then couldn't help comforting her. It's okay, it looks like just an ordinary sprain, apply some medicine, and it will be fine in a few days. Fortunately, I brought medicine in advance before climbing the mountain. Don't move, I will rub some medicine for you. With that said, Xiaoruo took out the sprain ointment from her backpack. These were all prepared before going up the mountain. As for why they were prepared, how should I put it? Intuitively, Xiaoruo always felt that there might be accidents when climbing the mountain, so she was well prepared, but she didn't expect that the same as Xiaoruo thought, there would be an accident. Don't move, if it hurts, just call out, I will be gentle, Xiaoruo said to Akiyama Mio gently. Listening to Xiaoruo's gentle voice, Akiyama Mio's heart slowly calmed down. Only at this moment did she realize that Xiaoruo was holding her feet and was about to start applying medicine. It was the first time for a boy to touch her at such a close distance. Mio Akiyama's face turned red all of a sudden, and she didn't even care much about her foot injury. Akiyama Mio has always been a good boy in school, and after entering middle school, it was an all-girls school. There were no boys around, and she usually fights with Ritsutanaka. She is a girl who has been single since her mother was single. This kind of experience of being in close contact with boys always feels very strange. Fortunately, everyone around was looking at her injuries, and no one cared about her expression, otherwise Mio Akiyama's slightly flushed face would have been noticed. Feeling the coolness slowly coming from the feet after applying the medicine, Akiyama Mio noticed that Xiaoruo had always been so focused, without any wavering. It seemed that he didn't think much about it at all, but he thought about it himself. Slowly, her complexion also returned to normal, but there was also some inexplicable disappointment in her heart. Okay, but after something like this happened, we can't continue to climb the mountain. Everyone can take a rest today and go down the mountain now, Xiaoruo said to the girls after packing up her things. I'm sorry everyone, Akiyama Mio looked disappointed. It's okay, Mio-chan, it's all my fault for running too fast, Yui Hirasawa comforted Mio desperately at this time. Mio-chan can't go down the mountain now, we all support one side, and the four of us work together to lift Mio-chan down bar. Luzhang and I raised our legs, Azamiao and Zhou raised their hands. Okay, now it's time for our after-school tea time show again. No. Mio Akiyama refused loudly. She absolutely did not want her four partners to carry her down the mountain with 5 horses dismembering her body. If she really did that, it would be better to let her die. Seeing this funny, Xiaoruo couldn't help laughing. Let me carry her. Just help me carry things. Then trouble Xiaoruo-jun. Akiyama Mio thanked in a low voice, not daring to raise her face. She did not choose to refuse. Being carried by a man is better than being carried down the mountain by a few of her stupid friends. Xiaoruo slowly supported Akiyama Mio, and carefully carried Akiyama Mio on her back, taking care not to expose her ankles to any external force. After Akiyama Mio was carried by Xiaoruo, she felt very embarrassed to be carried by a man, especially when her chest was attached to the opponent's back. It was too shameful for Akiyama Mio. She could only use her arms to prop up it as much as possible to loosen the clinging part, but fortunately, behind this man, he couldn't see her face. After finishing everything, Xiaoruo went down the mountain with Akiyama Mio on her back. They actually climbed a certain distance, but it was not the kind of mountain to climb by hand, but there were steps, so they could go down the mountain with people on their backs. Sorry to hurt you, Xiaoruo said to Akiyama Mio with a little apology. You don't need to apologize, I didn't pay attention, and I had a great time these 2 days, Akiyama Mio whispered, leaning on Xiaoruo's back. It's good to be happy. As long as you are happy, I will be happy. In fact, I have never been a tour guide before. Maybe I haven't thought through enough. If I am more careful, you won't be hurt. No, don't think so, Xiaoruo-jun has already done a good job. Ha ha ha, sure enough, I knew Miss Akiyama Mio is a beautiful, gentle, and kind girl. Being praised by Xiaoruo, Akiyama Mio instantly blushed from face to neck. Afraid that Akiyama Mio would be bored, or think about some unhappy things because of the pain, Syaruo talked with her along the way, and the girls around were also talking with Akiyama Mio. Time seemed to pass quickly. However, going down the mountain is very time-consuming. It has been more than an hour, and I still haven't reached the bottom of the mountain. Although I took 2 rests in the middle, Syaruo's physical strength is still not enough. But Syaruo is still a boy after all, and he is still young, and he can still persist. He usually does daily exercise, and his body is not thin, but he doesn't look very strong. At this time, Akiyama Mio heard Syaruo's heavy breathing, looked at Syaruo's face dripping with sweat, and could feel that the clothes of the people under her were soaked, but they were still carrying her on their backs. In this case, she also abandoned the sense of shame just now, and didn't even notice the body that was close to Syaruo. Instead, she was embarrassed because she dragged Syaruo down, and at the same time, she was a little worried about Syaruo. "Take a break, you've been carrying me for a long time." "It's okay, didn't you rest just now?" "I'm fine, and I'll be there soon. Now I have to go back quickly and let you take a rest." The more thoughtful Syaruo is, the more embarrassed Akiyama Mio becomes. "But I see that you are very tired. Let me down. Actually, hold me up, and I can go." Syaruo smiled. "I said no, you'd better not move around now, and I'm not as tired as you imagined. Miss Akiyama Mio was the first girl I ever recited, and I also only then did I realize that a girl's body is so small and light, it feels light and weightless." "Yeah." Mio Akiyama's mouth suddenly raised a smile, as if she was very happy to be praised, and even forgot the pain. Obviously when she weighed herself before, she felt a little heavier, so in the eyes of the boys, she was still light and fluffy. "Syaruo-jun speaks really nicely." Akiyama Mio was also a little tired. With her head on, she slowly leaned her body against Syaruo's body, with a sweet smile still on her face. "Why are you exaggerating? Am I that light? I usually don't lie." "Really? If this is the case, then I believe what Syaruo-jun said." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 29. The two communicated quietly all the way, and when Syaruo felt that she was sweating enough to wash her clothes, they finally reached the foot of the mountain. Arrive. It's finally over, mountaineering trip. This task is really not easy. Syaruo finally breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay to go shopping with girls, but carrying girls down the mountain, I almost exhausted myself to death. But fortunately, it was perfectly solved. Afterwards, Syaruo called a car and took them back home, because Akiyama Mio injured her foot and couldn't go out to play in the afternoon. But it's okay, Syaruo had already prepared. "Since you can only stay at home, I found a lot of board games for you, so you can play at home first." Since Ms. Akiyama Mio's foot is injured, the next schedule will also be changed. Syaruo took out a large number of board games and placed them in front of the girls, all of which were in Japanese. In fact, everyone in Kingian is very good at fishing. Even if they have nothing, drinking tea can actually pass the day quickly, but since Syaruo took out the board game, they readily accepted it. "Let's play together, Syaruo-jun," Pingzui invited Syaruo-jun. "Forget it, you girls can just play." Syaruo was ashamed to really play board games with a group of girls. "Then Syaruo-jun should take a rest first, I should be very tired today." Akiyama Mio saw that Syaruo was a little tired, so she didn't invite him again. Seeing that Syaruo didn't come, the 5 girls could only play cards by themselves, but girls like to chat while playing cards. Twittering. Syaruo watched the girls start playing, chatting while playing, and went back to the room by herself. Thinking about the next itinerary. In the living room. I always feel it's like a school trip, it's so interesting, and I can also have Izumi and Mo-chan, Hirasawa said while playing cards. Yes, I always feel that I have seen a lot, and the Chinese people feel very cute and straightforward. They are different from the Japanese. The Japanese generally like to think of some polite words and care more about other people's opinions. Compared with them, the Chinese people speak more. Be direct, Kotobuki seemed to sum up something. The food is also delicious, it's like heaven, and the tour guide is also very handsome, Azusa Nakano added at this time. But after she finished speaking, the people around her looked at her differently at the same time. What's wrong? Nakano Azusa asked in confusion. Handsome. I don't think it's unusual. Tanakaritsu thought for a while and replied, is it possible that you have some strange ideas, spring heart sprouting? Senior Law, don't think too much. I also think that the tour guide is very handsome. It may be that everyone's aesthetics are different. After all, he is a different type from Japanese boys, Yui Hirasawa said with an experienced tone. Stop pretending, we've been studying in girls' schools, how many Japanese boys have you met in girls' schools? Tanakaritsu immediately exposed her lie. Ah! Stop talking. I really don't have any male friends. Am I really going to be single for the rest of my life and stay with Jitai? Huh. Actually, I also think it's okay. He's not the kind of very handsome guy, but sometimes after a closer look, he feels a little handsome. He should be the attractive type, Kotobuki said, tilting his head. Is that so? Ritsu Tanaka thought about it carefully, but the ordinary face still appeared in his mind. Is there something wrong with my aesthetics? This is a big event, what about Mio? Mio thinks how about it, is it handsome or not? Ah! Mio Akiyama, who was called suddenly, was taken aback. After a while, the boy who walked down the mountain with her on his back for 2 hours appeared in his memory. And his heavy breathing and gentle voice at that time. Actually, I also think it's mediocre, but... Mio Akiyama blushed slightly, but the but she said was too soft, the people around didn't hear it. The girls didn't care either, and quickly switched to the next topic for discussion. After Xiaomeng finished walking Tom, she also joined them in playing cards. The girls were very good at playing cards together, and soon Xiaomeng played with them. They were all girls, and they didn't have any worries, everyone was very open. But only Akiyama Mio and Kotobuki have good English, so Xiaomeng can also communicate with them. Mo-chan, you are so lucky to have such an older brother. If only I had such an older brother. Akiyama Mio suddenly said such a sentence to Xiaomeng, which made Xiaomeng look confused. For the Japanese English spoken by Akiyama Mio, Xiaomeng is worthy of being a genius. After being stunned for 3 seconds, she seemed to understand what she was talking about, and Xiaomeng became even more stunned. What? I am so lucky to have such a big brother, why don't I know? Are you kidding me? He should be very lucky to have such a talented, capable, and lovely, beautiful sister who can cook for him. Why is it reversed in your eyes? Sure enough, because I don't understand Japanese and I can't communicate well, are these girls unknowingly brainwashed by the brother who can speak Japanese? Xiaomeng was speechless, these girls are really stupid. If Xiaoruo knew what Xiaomeng was thinking, she would definitely be full of question marks. Why can the misunderstanding between brothers and sisters be so big? It is really hard to find a sister who can cook for herself all the time. Xiaoruo is also very satisfied with Xiaomeng. As for Xiaoruo's poor performance as an older brother, Xiaoruo can only say that her sister is too good. There is no room for self-improvement. If Xiaomeng could act weaker, cry a few times for nothing, pull her arm and act coquettishly, this would also give Xiaoruo a chance, but unfortunately not, she is usually weird, and Xiaoruo wouldn't even let her touch her head. What's wrong? Seeing that Xiaomeng didn't speak, Akiyama Mio thought she didn't understand. Xiaomeng wanted to blackmail her brother, but after all, she was her brother, so she had to save some face, so she finally said it out of conscience. Yes, you are right, I have such a good brother, I am very happy. In a flat tone. Sure enough, in fact, I have always wanted a very reliable brother like Xiaoruo-jun. I have always been very timid. It would be great if I had a very reliable brother who would protect me and spoil me when I was afraid. When Akiyama Mio finished speaking, her face turned red again. Huh? Reliable? Xiaomeng feels that she and this Japanese girl can no longer be on the same channel. Is there a difference between China and Japan? Akiyama Mio seemed to think of something again. She turned her head slightly, and looked away. It's also very handsome. Hee. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 30. Xiaomeng let out a speechless hee. Seeing Akiyama Mio's reaction, she seemed to know something. So, is this girl's brainwashed brain abnormal? What a pity, what a good girl, she is so cute, so handsome, so innocent, so kind, but her brain is not very good. These girls looked about 16 or 17 years old, and they were so innocent that they were frighteningly innocent. I heard that they were still attending girls' schools in Japan, and they hadn't even seen a few normal boys. What a lie. Xiaomeng really hated her brother so much now, she had maliciously made up the picture in her mind. The girls go online when they are bored, and they are targeted by the brother who is fishing online. After the scheme of the brother, they are tricked to Huaguo. Maybe it is because of some special methods of the brother. This person named Akiyama Mio has a good impression of the brother. The next plot is disgusting. Brother is really a beast, he can handle girls of this age. Forward. Of course, the above are all Xiaomeng's malicious brain supplements, just for fun. She also doesn't really think that the truth is like this. After all, in her heart, although her brother is a bit stupid, he is still a human being and will not do bad things. It may also be a really good netizen, and online dating is also possible. Thinking of this, Xiaomeng turned her head and glanced at Akiyama Mio again, especially the waist-length black hair, and her face that was so delicate and cuter than a star, it was really enviable. This girl is so beautiful, well-educated, gentle, and kind-hearted, tall, and she has not seen any shortcomings for the time being. As my sister-in-law, it is not difficult to accept such a girl, but it is hard for her. She will marry her brother in the future. The fool. Unknowingly, Xiaomeng had already added countless dramas in her heart, and even thought about what to call her little nephew in the future. Mio Akiyama's foot was injured, so King Ian and the others could only rest at home for a day. They were bored and played board games, and drank tea in the living room. Looks like you're having a great time. It's just that Xiaoruo found that Akiyama Mio was still a little depressed, probably because of her injury. Everyone had to accompany her, which affected everyone's schedule, so she blamed herself. Akiyama Mio is such a gentle person, and she wanted to care more how others feel. After all, according to the arrangement, I was supposed to go to the zoo to see pandas today. But when everyone was playing the game, Xiaoruo secretly pulled Akiyama Mio aside. What's wrong? Akiyama Mio asked, but she seemed afraid to look into Xiaoruo's eyes. How is your foot injury? Is it serious? Xiaoruo asked gently, staring at Akiyama Mio's face. Thank you, I'm all relying on you. The medicine you applied yesterday is very useful. It still hurts when I walk, but it's fine when I stand, Mio Akiyama replied. That's good. Xiaoruo breathed a sigh of relief. He came here to comfort the girl. Actually, you don't have to care too much. Compared with playing, everyone cares more about your injuries. Even if you don't go out, play games at home. Also very happy. Akiyama Mio felt Syoruo's concern, and nodded slightly, but Akiyama Mio seemed to think of something, and suddenly raised her head. By the way, since we can't go out today, why don't we play for Syoruo-jun and Syoruo-jun's family members? Play. Syoruo didn't expect Akiyama Mio to think of such a thing. I've been here for so many days, I've been bothering you all the time, now I just have time, let's play a game. But are you still hurt? It's okay, it's just a foot injury, I can sit still. Akiyama Mio's eyes were very determined, as if they were shining. When it comes to playing, she seems to be a different person, she is no longer so weak, her eyes will sparkle when she talks about the field she is good at. No way, Syoruo finally agreed, and the Kingian girls also agreed to play, and they were very motivated. It seemed that they really wanted to show off their talents in a foreign country. Syoruo also called her mother and Xiameng to come over to watch. As for her father, it seems that he hasn't come back these days. Maybe something happened to the company and he has been staying in the company. The living room is very big, and it's okay to play for them. Syoruo also prepared all the instruments, except the ones brought by the girls, before they came. Crab Momo's care over the past few days, Hirasawa tried to speak Chinese. It seemed that she had studied hard these days, but no one could understand what she said. Crab. Everyone, crab and crab. Anyway, it's just these few sentences, and it seems that I only remember these few sentences. There were Xiameng, Syoruo, and my mother in the audience, and they all knew that their Chinese was not good, so they could only applaud. Papa. Come on. Syoruo applauded below. I started recording with my mobile phone, and I will remember this moment. For it. Then post it online. Yes, little girls, come on. Syoruo's mother also applauded with a smile. She also likes these cute and gentle girls. For her, the only shortcoming of these girls is that they don't understand their language. Forehead. Xiameng was caressing her forehead from below. She didn't expect that these girls really know how to play music. Girls play in bands. This kind of thing seems to be rare in China. Everyone is studying hard to prepare for the college entrance examination. Other things are too waste of study time. Of course, except for a genius like myself who can learn it easily. However, Xiameng didn't have much expectations for the performance of Kingian girl. For her, with these 16 or 17-year-old girls, what kind of performance can she perform? It is estimated that it is only half-baked, and it would be good if it can be listened to. In the middle of the living room, several girls stood together and picked up the instruments in their hands, as if they had completely changed a group of people. The usual lazy atmosphere disappeared, and they became very energetic instead. In other words, the aura has changed. The next thing we want to play is light and floating time. As soon as Hirasawayui's voice fell, the music sounded, and in an instant, the world seemed to be different. Doki doki I. The clear and melodious singing reverberated throughout the living room. Syoruo's eyes shone with brilliance. The feeling of listening to the slippery eggs was really different. When they sang, the temperament of these girls changed, and they became more confident and serious. Exudes charm from top to bottom. Their bodies, as well as their eyes, seemed to be shining. So strong. Syoruo can understand that this is a special feeling, even more powerful than the performance heard in the animation. Seriously. Xiameng listened to the Kingian girl's performance, she couldn't close her mouth in surprise, she fell into chaos, for a moment, she thought she was listening to the concert. This is too handsome. Xiameng covered her little mouth in surprise. She originally thought that these girls were pretending to be handsome with guitars and basses, or they were playing rock and roll. After all, Hirasawayui and Tanakaritsu still dyed their hair, but at this moment, the moment they heard them singing, Xiaomeng realized how handsome these girls are. It's obviously not rock and roll, but music for girls. At this moment, Xiaomeng felt a little confused about why simple girls playing musical instruments could be so handsome, so cute, and play such beautiful music. Compared with these girls, she seemed not so good. Even Akiyama Mio, who is sitting and playing, is still so aura. Xiaomeng was silent. She was already a perfect girl, but now she can play the bass so well and sing well. Will such an excellent girl finally become her sister-in-law? With the final singing, the performance ended. Everyone, crabs. Recommend a friend's new book Zongman's Bizarre Adventure.